tutorial. I'm Jane from Loopy Space. This week I'm in my home studio and I'm here today with the tutorial I promised for the covered zip. Now this is one that I've been asked for by some of my learners. It's something that I do quite often, and it's something that a lot of my beginner sewers find difficult to get their heads around. Because of the way that we're using the fabric, and it is very difficult sometimes just to think of how the fabric's going to look when we turn it the right way. Our brains find it difficult to process that, and we need to build up that muscle memory. So one of my learners was saying when we were having a discussion that the things that stick in her mind are the rules that we put in place. And the one that we need to remember today is about having fabrics right sized together. If we think about our zip as a fabric and the right side of our own the material, that's going to help us make sure that we get to put our zip on the right way. Now, having a covered zip, it allows us to use zips that we wouldn't normally use. So I'm in my studio at home, which means I don't have all my materials here. I don't have all my zips and supplies, so I'm just using what I'm finding around my sewing room. So this is quite a chunky zip. It's grey, and I certainly wouldn't use it probably with using these colours. So I shall pop a link, if you look above, to where we created these in the first place. I've now quilted it and I'm going to put a backing on it. So as I said, just going around my sewing room and seeing what I can salvage, and I've got some of this fabric and I'm using a darker one to cover the zip. Now I tend to cut my pieces slightly bigger than I need, and then I trim them down to size. And that helps with any variances on seam allowance. You'll need your zipper foot on your machine, but I've got a bit of a problem. I've mislaid mine. I can't remember what I did. I can remember where I was from the last time I had it. So I'm just using my ordinary foot and I'm going to get as close to the zip as I can. Now this is a long length of zip with the pulls added. I cut my zips longer. I do this particularly, especially when I've got beginners classes, because making sure that the zipper pull isn't interfering with your stitching is essential. Sometimes if we have to navigate it, we get a little kink where we're going to have to move it around. So make it as simple as possible and cut your zip a bit longer. So this bit here is going to be the cover. When I've completed it, this is going to cover my zip, so you're not going to see it. I cut mine to 3 inches and then I press it in half. So we're going to layer this up to do the first part. Right, so you can see I've cut it longer. This is the fabric I'm using, so that would go on the top, the piece will go on the bottom, and this is what's going to cover the zip. Now if you lay it out like that, it makes it quite easy to remember which way to lay it. You need the right side of your backing to be right size to your zip. So I'm just going to pop that down that way, and we're joining it to the top edge of our zip as it's laying on the top. So I'm going to line the raw edges of my cover and the raw edges, so those 3 edges are together, and that's going to line up with the top of my zip. And I'm going to zip that in place, stitch that in place now. Okay, so that's sewn on, and now when I flip that up, you can see we've got it the right way. So now I go into stitch just along this edge here, just to keep it flat, and we're going to make sure we're going to keep our zip flat as well. But just to comment about this, If you find it easier to clip and pin, then do so. I like to line mine up as I go because fabric sometimes moves. So I'll stitch a bit and line it up as I go. Do it whichever way feels easier. And then just as I would normally do when I'm inserting a zip, I'm going to brush that back and I'm going to stitch, top stitch along that edge. There we go. It's now nice and flat and I've got a nice edge to finish on there. So you might find it easy just to lay your zip down, keep it in the same position. So again, we're going to be adding our fabric to the top edge. We're going to flip it over so it's right sides together. Make sure the cover is out of the way. Going to make sure the backing pieces line up. And I'm going to line that up with the top of the zip and stitch as close to the zip as I can. Going to make sure I'm lining this edge up as I go. There we are, that's added. So now I'm going to flip that back and I'm going to top stitch across there. One thing, just a quick tip to remember actually, when you're stopping and lining things up, make sure your needle's down. If your machine's got a function where the needle stays down when you stop, use that. Not all machines have it, but get in the habit of when you stop in to make sure the needle's down, and then you're going to make sure that the stitching lines up. So I'm just going to top stitch that, and it'll be back and it'll be ready to attach to the cushion. There we go. Now when you're going to put it on your cushion, the cover is going to come down from the top, so I can trim this up and get this attached to the back of my cushion. Well, so quick recap. Remember, we want our backing fabric to be right size to our zip. The right side of the zip is where the raised teeth are, and we want to make sure that our cover, which is going to be folded in half, is sandwiched between the backing fabric and our zip. We're going to join that to the top edge of our zip, so it makes it easier. Have it laid down flat on your table as it would look, and then just flip the top over. Then you're going to top stitch it in place so that the top fabric doesn't move around, just makes it look nice and we know it's going to be secure. We're then just going to add the fabric to the second side, but sometimes it makes it easier if we just turn it up so that the side of the zip that has no fabric is at the top, just so that our brains can get used to that muscle memory of flipping it over. Then that's going to be top stitched and it's ready to add to your back of your cushion. Do remember that you're going to line up the backing pieces as well. It's no good putting them on the ends of the zips. To make it easier, having the zip a bit longer so the zipper pull doesn't get in the way while you're sewing is a good tip. But remember, when you're going to trim it down to size, make sure the zipper pull is in where the cushion's going to be. You don't want to trim it all up and cut the zipper pull off the end. If you have any other questions at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can reply and put a question in the box below or contact me through the website. I'd be happy to hear from you and help you if I can. Subscribe to my channel, hit that bell below and get notifications when new content is added. I'll be back very soon, but in the meantime, do take care.